Beauty is the replication and duplication of mind's delusion. It is not uniqueness or exceptionality. It is the mentality of belonging and fitting in. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the friendly debate of the BS Ed Math 3C. I am Divine Kimberly May Arasaganabi, the moderator. And now, let us all welcome from the red side of the affirmative team, we have Miss Crisdel Ginitaran, the first speaker, Miss Claire Oriarte, the second speaker, and Miss Rosie Rosales, the third speaker. And from the white side of the opposing team, we have Miss Bethany Melesio, the first speaker, Miss Elvi Patosa, the second speaker, and Ms. Shikaina Rostodok, the third speaker. But we can't proceed to our formal debate without the presence of our judge, Mr. Aljon Villanueva, and our time watcher, Ms. Shane Oriarte. So, to present to you the topic for our discussion, is special education effective or ineffective? Special education provides students with identified disabilities a specialized instruction designed to meet their unique learning needs, allowing them to develop their fullest potential. However, it often sends the message to the children that they are weird or different. Is it effective and necessary, or should they have a different or separate curriculum? It is for us to find out. But before that, may I call on Ms. Shani Oriarte to present to us the debate rules. Ms. Shani?
Okay, so the first speaker for the affirmative team presents the arguments in support of the resolution 3 to 5 minutes. The first speaker of the closing team presents arguments the opposing resolution 3 to 5 minutes. The rules may include a short recess for teams to prepare the rebuttals for 5 minutes. The opposing team begins with a rebuttal attempting to defend the opposing arguments and to defeat the supporting arguments without adding a new information 2 to 3 minutes. First rebuttal of the affirmative team 2 to 3 minutes. Each team gets a second rebuttal for closing statements with the affirmative team having the last opportunity to speak 2 to 3 minutes. There cannot be interruptions. Speakers must wait for their turns.
So after the debater's claim is done, I will immediately call on the next speaker to begin her address. Are there any questions regardless of the rules? So since I hear none, I call upon the third affirmative speaker to deliver the resolution, defining its terms and outlining the affirmative side. We have Ms. Rosie Rosales, the third speaker of the affirmative side.
So, special education provides students with identified disabilities specialized instruction designed to meet their unique learning needs, giving them the opportunity to develop their fullest potential. In the United States, special education is delivered free of charge through the public education system, thanks to the Individual with Disabilities Education Act or IDEA. Although the Individuals with Disability Education Act was first passed in 1975, originally called Education for All Handicapped Children Act, and reauthorized under George W. Bush 2004, its primary goals have remained similar all these years: to protect the rights of children's education. IDEA provides parents with specific rights and protections called procedural safeguards, which means that parents are always afforded the right to make decisions regarding the education of their children. IDEA ensures that children with disabilities have access to a free and appropriate public education, and that schools provide special education to these children in the least restrictive environment possible, which means keeping them in general education classrooms whenever possible. IDEA recovers children from the age of 3 through high school or the age of 21, whichever comes first. Children younger than the age of 3 can receive services through IDEA's early intervention services. Most special education takes place in the general education classroom, consistent with IDEA's goals of providing children with disabilities special education services, and a less restricted environment. However, not all special education can be taught in general education classrooms. Therefore, special education teachers and professionals must sometimes provide special education in separate classrooms and outside of the public school system in separate residential settings of these schools. Most special education spend at least a portion of their day in a resource room where they can receive individuals instruction. It is also common for some special educators to provide special education services at home or in community-based settings. Special education teachers in these settings work with students with severe disabilities, helping them practice functional daily living skills. The main benefit of special needs schools is that they have a targeted clientele. Their admissions criteria are specific to the students that their particular school is able to able to service. They know their students and are best prepared to meet their individual needs. This might mean specifically trained personnel, a specific physical environment, and or a particular curriculum.
So now that we hear the remarks of the affirmative team, let us have the resolution of the third speaker of the negative or the opposing team.
Special education is tailored to meet the needs of students with disabilities. The services and support of one child receives may be different from what another child receives. It is all about individualization. What's important is giving kids the resources they need to make progress in school. Special education today is still focused on helping students with disabilities learn, but this is no longer has to mean placing kids in a special classroom all day long. In fact, federal law requires the students to receive special education services to be taught alongside their non-disabled peers as much as possible. The negative outcome of separating students with special needs or specific learning differences is it results social problems. I know today because many years I am now sold of an Italian generic medication during my treatment for bipolar depression, PTSD, social anxiety, and ADHD. In special education, they labeled me mildly mentality, but I actually wondered if mislabelings are often made. However, the ADHD is probably what caused the mild mental retardation, and now I refer it to the borderline mild general learning disability rather than the MR, because manual labelings are outdated. I used an updated, less offensive labeling in place to both. I can learn the self-taught teacher method, murder from a teacher's special education, are sometimes separated from the rest of the class, which can be isolated. There is a potential for students to experience stigma. Integration of special education students and general education students may not work for all needs instructional aids and may limit students' ability to work independently. There is a potential for students to struggle more socially. Socialization is another whole ballpark inclusion could lead to children developing negative attitudes about peers with disabilities, especially if difficult they are receiving more attention from the teacher and other students in classrooms. Teachers of general education classes may have teaching students with disabilities. They felt they do not know them well enough and they still make a mistake. This can then in return allow the teachers to push the students with a disability and not give them the best education piece they can.
So thank you for each of your remarks. Let us now have a 2 minutes break for the preparation of your rebuttals. And now, I call upon the first affirmative speaker to present the positive side official rebuttal.
Special needs school programs address every child's need. They focus on the individualized requirements of each student, learning, and can tailor instruction to match the learning needs of each child. By doing so, each child of the school is afforded the opportunity to engage and learn successfully, thereby realizing their true potential where many public schools may try to reach every student. To reach the apparent lack of resources in many schools makes this an impossible task. The biggest advantage of a special needs school is having a staff with specialist knowledge and training to work with the population of students who attend. And for the students, having a group for the students of peers around them who understand because they are all dealing with similar issues. School classes and the low teacher to student ratio are major benefits. Small classes allow the students to receive the individual attention they need. Teachers have the opportunity to really get to know their students and incorporate their individual strengths, needs, and interests into the lessons. This provides the teacher with a complete picture of the student's understanding and allows teacher to quickly identify any gaps in any student knowledge. Students learn and interact with peers who also have challenges. This may include learning development, behavioral, and physical challenges.
I thank the first positive, and now I call upon the first speaker of the negative or the opposing team to present their official rebuttal.
One good reason is to avoid labeling a child or enrolling them in a special needs program school is to avoid pathologizing, highlighting some aspect of a child's development, or making them feel socially strange. So even children who are labeled as gifted extensively positive label and worry about being different than others. So as much as possible, children's special education learning needs are best accommodated with as little fuss and segregation as possible. So students in a special needs class may also have problems relating to other kind of class or some school.
So I think the first positive speaker, and now I call upon the second affirmative speaker for their rebuttals.
So, instruction is tailored to individual students to meet their unique learning needs. The main benefit of special education is that they have a targeted clientele. Their admissions criteria are specific to the students that their particular school is based able to service. They know their students and are best prepared to meet their individual needs. This might mean specifically trained personnel, a specific physical environment, or a particular curriculum. Teachers have a specialized training in special education. Special resources and services may be available. These may include academic and psychological counseling, tutoring programs, and speech-language tutoring, physical and occupational therapy, and learning aids.
I thank the second affirmative, and now call upon the second negative to present their opposing rebuttal.
Lack of integration, students may only learn and interact with peers with special needs. They won't be exposed to a wide range of influences. Academic special education sometimes involve lowering expectations. This can lead to problems at higher levels of education. Transition to regular school sometimes find a transition from special needs of school or program or regular school challenges. This can be both an academic and social and emotional adjustment. It's called transitions. But some parents may think that special education or setting can hinder their child's future progress between wanting to transition schools or transition into post-secondary education. However, schools can ensure that the wide range of supports or strategies provided to individuals with special needs are supports that simply enable them to access the curriculum differently and further so that we have the opportunity to learn and be successful, just like a technical student in the regular system. Students can be explicitly told skills to help themselves advocate so they can transition into other schools or to life after school. One of the main concerns that the parents have is how students prefer transitioning from special needs school to regular school. In our experience, the majority of students do very well with it and with this change in order to help with the transition process. The administration and teachers must make in themselves available to answer any questions that future schools may have. This opinion involves a face-to-face meeting with special education resource teachers and families prior to the change, but it may involve ongoing support if this goal requires it.
I thank the second negative and now call upon the third affirmative to present the positive side's rebuttal.
Students get the support they need to get the most out of their education. This may include accommodations, modifications, and remediations. Some children have special learning needs that make it difficult to accommodate them within a special program or school. This can be because of the degree of the child's exceptionality or the complexity of the interacting exceptionalities. A child who is hearing impaired, for example, might be best served in a regular program with accommodations, whereas a child whose hearing loss is more profound or who has other complicated conditions might require a special program or school. At the special needs school, you can expect more personable approach to learning in which your child given options to, to aid in their path to success. A special needs school provide a nurture environment that often comes with smaller students numbers and thus differentiation and individual attention is feasible. The school will work more closely with a support team of each individual to ensure consistency and transparency with smaller numbers. A teacher is able to engage more each student on a regular basis to check on their understanding, frustration levels, any social issues, and etc. It is much easier for a teacher in a special needs school to build a rapport with their students so that they can begin to identify and understand each day what the students may require.
I thank the third affirmative and now call upon the third negative to present the negative side's rebuttal.
The level of special needs can have stigma or negative connotation. Being a special needs program reinforces this concern among parents about special needs schools, and programs include social stigmas around learning styles, loss of neighborhood school atmosphere, and options for their students' lives after school ends. The benefits outweigh those concerns. For most, the social stigma is socialized, specially constructed, that will meet the commute and loss of neighborhood are a cost that seems worth the benefits for most families, and the neighborhood feeling can build into schools, programs, and atmospheres. The main disadvantage of special needs school is exposure to only one type of population. Are there appropriate role models? Do students have opportunities to interact with peers who are different than they are? Social development should be an essential component to any school program. Every student should have goals specially created for him or her. This means the staff must have a very clear picture of where each student is functioning socially and set realistic goals based on that. All students should be exposed to appropriate role models and have opportunities to interact with peers. Developing friendship is essential for all, although this relationship might look different based on the needs of each student.
I thank the third negative for concluding the debate. With a judge decision, may I ask the score sheet as soon as you have completed them. The debaters are asked to remain.
A pleasant day to all. I am honored to be your judge in this debate. For my comment regarding this debate, let us have the negative side first. For the organization and clarity, most of their arguments are clear and orderly in parts. They use a very strong and persuasive arguments given throughout the debate. But there are some significant problems in the other portions of the debate. For the use of cross-examination and rebuttal, the speakers or debaters give an excellent cross-examination and defense against the affirmative team's objection. And for the presentation style, most of the style features were used convincingly. For my comment on the affirmative side, for the organization and clarity, there are most clear and orderly in parts. For the arguments, many were given but there are some significant problems. For the cross-examination and rebuttal, the speakers give a good cross-examination and rebuttals, but there are some significant problems occur during the debate. For the presentation style, they only use few style features. And in conclusion, I will now declare the winner for this debate with the topic, is special education effective or not? Garnering a 17 points, the winner goes to the negative side. The negative side gives the arguments that really convinced me during the cross-examination during the debate. Thank you.